there's just some fucking kid standing in the median beating a damn street sign with a stick. He's been there for like 5 minutes. Huh. Alright, schizophrenic street cretins aside, we have a whole plethora of goodies today. But today is not the day. Today is not the day we're doing stuff. It's just the day I'm putting everything out here. Because if you look right there, I finally have a radiator. Set me back about $145, but I have a radiator, so we can hopefully get the cooling system working. But I also have a whole pile of juice here today, courtesy of Walmart. Walmart, please sponsor me. I could use whatever savings you can throw my way, $5, anything. I just spent $145 on radiator. Throw me a bone here, Wally World. Come on, help a brother out. So we've got transmission fluid, diff fluid, and some of the blue goo, because I want to see if the windshield wiper pump works. So we'll try that today. I think it doesn't, but we'll give it a whirl. I had to buy some of that anyway, so it was like $2, so we'll dump 50 cents worth of the stuff in this thing and test on it. The transmission in this thing takes Mercon or Dex 3. I was going to get some of the high mileage stuff, but the Walmart label is very specific that is for some old Ford and GM transmissions. And it specifically says that. It does not have an other anywhere on there. So just to be safe, I'm not going to put the high mileage stuff in this thing, because the last thing I want is for it to blow up. Because that'll set me back like $3,000. I also have diff fluid. The manual specs straight 90 weight, or if you really want to, 85 W90. However, that's just an old spec. You can run 75 W90 in it just fine. I was going to buy conventional, but I already had a bottle, brand new unopened bottle of SuperTech full synthetic 75 W90 for some reason. I have absolutely no idea why I had it. I think a friend might have given it to me, but I had a bottle of it, so I just went and bought a second one and spent the extra $2 to get synthetic. And I think this differential only has like a 1.1 quart capacity, so probably don't really need the second bottle, but the spec capacity is slightly more than 1 quart. I could, if I really wanted to, like drain everything out, and then before it really stops draining, put the plug back in, and then pour in the new stuff, and that would probably put me right at the level. But just to be safe, we'll buy 2, and we'll try that. So I'm also running the glow plugs right now, because I'm always running the glow plugs. That's part of my life now. Because after replacing that return line, I have a feeling that I might be able to get this thing to chooch without any use of ether, now that, you know, there's not air coming into the fuel system every single time it parks. So we're going to test on that. I think that's number 6. I've been standing here talking for like 2 minutes, so I'm sure the glow plugs are not retaining any heat in between these like 1-minute cycles. So anyway, I'm going to pop the hood, dump some blue goo in it, see if the pump works, and get to trying to fucking start this thing, I guess. I don't know. What the hell do you want me to start? Alright, I think we're on glow plug cycle like 11 now, but let's see if the pump works. And these wipers are going to make a hellish scraping, screeching noise. Holding it. I got one! That's pretty slick. Let's see if I get the... I got both of them! That's worth the whole fucking car. Ooh, yeah, I'm sure the windshield likes that. Yeah, it doesn't... There's not, like... I forget what it's called. The interrupter thing, the thing that makes them stop in the correct place, is not quite all the way there. Alright, this will be 12. But that's cool to see. It's like 40-something out right now. Like 45 something. It's not super cold. But, you know, it's chilly. It's fairly chilly for here. I think it got below freezing last night, which is, you know, that only happens like 3 days a year here. So, yeah. Glow plugs. There we are. Let's see if fucking something happens. Let's see. Foot to the floor. Battery's kind of dead. She's an ether girl. Alright, let's just give her the spritz and call it a day. Alright, I'm giving her the 3rd glow plug cycle. So I guess while we wait, plan on doing the radiator weekend after next, because it's supposed to rain this weekend and the weekend after. And I'm waiting on the transmission filter to show up, and that's not supposed to get here until, I think 2 weeks from now. Radiator showed up in 4 days, but the transmission filter is going to take 2 weeks. So anyway, I'm also waiting on crow's foots so I can do the hand primer pump. I think that came in today. As well as all the fucking big ass fucking Allen wrenches to take off all of these plugs. Whew. So we're gonna have a whole pile of stuff to do and hopefully some exciting results. Did you hear the glow plugs click? Because I haven't heard them click yet. Anyway, we're just gonna fucking send it and see what the hell happens. Gave it a big snort of ether. Heard the turbo spin up for the first time there. Yeah, she took some foot pedal encouragement, but she's going. Also, curiously, the cooling system is no longer leaking. Like, it's just been holding on to, like, all the water, which is kind of cool. Man, I like that turbo sound. But that could just be the fan, you know, pushing air. It's probably not the turbo. But anyway, I'm just going to warm her up a tiny bit. Get her up to temp, I guess. Same old, same old. Man, she did really well today. She's hovering at like 97 at the moment. I just drove her up to the head of the road and back, and she didn't even get up to... She was just about this temperature when I parked her. She wasn't any higher. So, fixing those brakes has taken a massive load off of the transmission, which is awesome. I even got her up to 40 miles an hour, which I probably shouldn't be doing because I don't even drive the damn Jeep that fast on this road. But it just doesn't feel like she's going that fast. I have a feeling that the speedometer in all of its totally fucked upness is totally fucked up. And it's reading like 20% too high. Because it's telling me I'm going like 40 and it only looks like I'm going like 35. But anyway, just put her up on ramps real quick so I don't have to do that 2 weeks from now. And will she die? Man. The more I just abuse this car, the better it gets. Because it seems like none of the actual work I've done to the thing has made any fucking difference. So let's open her real quick, not one-handed. And see if we got any fluid everywhere. Alrighty, it does appear that this gasket is making a difference. Because there's not just oil everywhere, but then again the engine also isn't overheating like it normally is. I keep taking that cap off to make sure that it's making a difference, and when I take the cap off it just dumps oil everywhere because all the oil stuck to the cap. So I'm not going to do that. If you look in there, there's fluid. I didn't put any in it today. It's 100% full. All the fluid I put in there is still in there. So wherever the leak was, it is now not leaking. I'm wondering if it was just that lower radiator hose that I broke the hose clamp on. And replacing that hose clamp fixed it, I guess. I don't know, that's the only place I saw the leak. I mean, other than the water flying out of the radiator. Still seems like the power steering pump is like leaking or something. I'm not entirely sure why. I think it's just because I opened it. So now it's like, oh hey, I can dump this tiny amount of fluid that's on the lip everywhere. Windshield wiper fluid works, you saw that. It's fucking awesome. Seems to shift. She takes really long to shift though. I don't know if that's normal. I got her into third. She doesn't shift into third until she's like 3,000 RPM. I don't know. I don't know how it sounds in a, you know, inline 5 as compared to a V6, but sounds like it's like 3,000 RPM before it shifts into third, and I probably got her up close to 3,500, maybe even approaching 4. And I didn't hear her shift into fourth. I couldn't feel it either, but I am also on sand, so the feedback through the tires is probably not something the transmission likes. Also, the fact that the transmission is low, like, you know, 30% of its capacity, 40% of its capacity is probably also fucking with the shift points. Probably need to do something with the glow plugs, I guess, at some point in time in order to get this thing to start without ether. I mean, it is, like, abnormally cold today, which is not particularly cold, and it should be able to start in this sort of temperature. But it would be nice to test this again, like when it's like 100 degrees out, and see if it'll just, you know, kick off. And yeah, I'm gonna shut the fuck up because I haven't done anything today other than dump blue goo into the windshield wiper thing. So I guess let's fast forward to me putting in the primer pump, I guess, because that's the only thing I can really do here in the immediate time frame ahead of me. I guess I can crack the... Actually, I think my Allen sockets came in, so I think I can do the differential fluid. So we'll give a shot at those two things tomorrow, maybe, hopefully, I think. We'll see. We now have crow's feet and Allen sockets and brand new used wipers. They're even 18 inches, 2 inches smaller than they need to be, because those came off of, I think my dad's car, or my mom's truck. They came off of somebody's car, and they're old and they're worn out, but they're not as worn out. So we're gonna run those, and I don't know why I'm putting wipers on it right now, but I just figured I would, because I don't care. I don't need to explain shit to you guys.
Well, we are experiencing technical difficulties. As I could have predicted, making the drain bolt on the transmission pan a 5mm Allen is a incredibly stupid idea, and it immediately rounded off the second I put it in there. I didn't even put like 30 foot-pounds of force on there, and the thing's stripped. So now I've got a set of big old vice grips on it, and I'm turning it as hard as I can, and I'm probably putting a good 30-40 foot-pounds of torque on this thing, and it's not moving. It's just spinning on the bolt, or starting to. So I'm gonna... And I already sprayed this stuff with PB Blaster like 4 times, and I don't think I'm gonna be able to get a torch on there particularly well. So that's a very bad sign. I just stopped by today for 5 minutes to break this thing free. You know, because like everything on this stupid thing, I think, oh, it'll take me 5 minutes, don't worry about it. And then it takes 4 hours. And then I say, oh, this is going to take me 4 hours. It takes me 5 minutes. Oh, Jesus. But anyway, I'm going to keep ripping on this, and then I'm going to give up shortly. And then we're just going to have to drop the pan and get covered in transmission fluid. So luckily I bought a new gasket and a filter, so we're going to have to take the pan off to do them anyway, so it's not a big loss, but it's really annoying, and I guess I'll just never do a transmission oil change again. I'm going to move on to those hoses up there as well and discover the same thing so that I know I have to buy new hoses. Wish me luck.
These guys actually all came free without not too much fight. That one, this guy, they all came free pretty easily, about 20 foot-pounds. This guy took about 40, but it broke. So yeah, no major issues there. We'll be able to replace the radiator at least, and we should be able to pull the transmission pan off. I guess I should probably put a socket on there and just verify. I think it's only 6 bolts holding it on, and they should only be on there with like, I think it was like 14 newton meters or something. It's just like 10 foot-pounds. And the drain bolt is not complying, so that will be fun. Let me put some torque on those and see what they do. Well, the local mongrels came by for their protection money, and I was unable to get the differential fill plug free, but all the transmission bolts, well, I got all the ones on the passenger side, they all came free with the expected amount of torque. So confident I can get the transmission pan off. I'm a little worried about the differential, but I also have about that much room under there. It's a miracle I can even fit under there. So I'm not putting full torque on that thing. So once I get the rear end jacked up, I may be able to get enough leverage to break that free, but I'm not terribly hopeful. If it fights me too much, I'll just ignore it. I already paid you guys this month's dues, alright? Calm down. So, yeah, I think that's it for today. Got kind of butt-fucked there on the transmission drain plug, but that's life. You get butt-fucked sometimes. And haven't quite decided what the issue is with the differential, but we'll figure that later. Figure that out later. I can't speak today. It's all the butt-fucking. So, we can get the radiator out, and we can replace the transmission filter, so that's all I really care about, and that's enough for today. Y'all are just ruthless. Alright, I got the 24mm crow's foot on there, and I just broke that free, didn't take too much. Got the new Bosch one, and we're just going to slap that on there real quick, and then I'm going to get to work because I'm about to be late for a meeting if I take any longer. Wish me luck. Alright, old one's out, and it didn't spill a single drop of diesel fuel. I don't know if you can see that, but it is dry on that lip. So it was definitely scavenging air. So that's probably a big part of the hard starting. So I'm going to put the new one in, prime it, bleed the system, and hope for the best, but we won't find out for a while. New one is in. That is a 17 millimeter crow's foot. Torqued it to probably 30 something foot-pounds. Still seems like it leaks a bit, but it's much nicer. Bled the system and all that too. See, because there's some fuel on it now. Not a lot, but it does seem like it's leaking around those threads a little bit, and I over-torqued it. I torqued it to the point where it won't torque anymore, so I know that crush washer is crushed. But whatever, it's not a lot, so we'll just keep ignoring it. Could just be that the pump is fucked, but I ain't buying a new little pump because it seems to pump just fine, at least for now. And that's just pulling stuff from the tank. The big mechanical pump will do the rest. And yeah, actually, I want to see if the windshield wipers work real quick. Give me a sec. Oh, hey, I wasn't recording that whole time. They do work. Looks like this sprayer is a little sad. That one works fine. So we'll have to stick a needle in there and break it or something. Good enough. Well, it looks like we're going to have to add windshield wiper sprayer nozzle to the list because that guy was shattered right the fuck off. That one's still fine. But that's very far down the list. Currently, I still can't get this fuse box cover off. This guy turns with about 10 foot-pounds of force, and it seems like it's doing nothing. And this one, I can turn about a sixth of a turn and then it seizes, so I don't know if these are nuts on studs or if these are like bolts going into the frame. I would think they're probably my gut wants to say they're bolts, but they could just be nuts sitting on a stud. I'm thinking that they're bolts because they're just fucking seized, and no matter how much I spin this, nothing happens. So I think what I'm going to have to do is break these knobs off and get vice grips on whatever the hell is underneath them and turn them, because I am making zero progress. I've turned this thing probably 50 times and nothing has happened. This is still pretty damn solid down here. Could be that this has like no play. I gotta Google real quick just to make sure I'm not doing anything wrong, but I'm pretty confident it's just turned the knobs until it comes off. Alright, well, I had to break them suckers off, but we finally got in there. They are just thoroughly rusted in place, and they were not coming out, so we're going to have to replace those with some kind of carriage bolt or something, something I'll figure it out. But not seeing any fuses that look particularly burnt. So, a lot of corrosion though, so could use some cleaning. And needs new doohickeys. So I'm going to give up for now and go home. Well, it's raining again, so back to thinking about this damn leak, this bugaboo that has fought me every step of the way. But luckily, it's a nice heavy rain, so I can actually get out here and see where this drip is coming from, how it's actually happening. And as you see, it is a true drip, and it's also running down the wall over there, and it fills up that little nook right there on top of the frame rail. I was thinking I could just drill a hole through that, and then I'd never have to worry about this pool of water again. But then I realized, oh, that's the frame, so yeah, I kind of don't want to drill a hole into the frame. That would be a dumb idea. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go buy some more foam stuff, some of the like 3-inch filler, and just absolutely fill up the inside up there, because I don't care anymore. Stuff cuts out easy. Pull out everything I did with that caulk and that plastic bag and just fill this entire side over here with foam and see what happens. And if it doesn't work, then I guess I'm shit out of luck, because I ain't pulling this entire body apart just to fix this leak. Hey, well, guess what I just learned? Radio works. Let's see if there's something in here. Guess not. The antenna doesn't work, I'll tell you that much. Probably because the antenna's not out. Don't get anything out of AM either. Antenna's probably totally fucked. That's great. Let's see if I can switch to CD. Nothing? How much you want to bet I can jam a CD in there and get it to work? Stand by. Let me find a stick to get all these spider webs out. Good thing I still have this hood stick here. Get out of here, spiders. That looks kind of clean, don't you think? Where did I leave that skinard? Oh yeah. Let me clean this up real quick and let's see what the hell happens. Alright. Will this video be DMCA'd? Let us find out. That's a good sound. Well, I think I might have fucked up, guys. Shit. Alright, we learned a lot of things in a very short amount of time. Apparently this front cover comes off. If you press this release button, it just sort of hinges off, which I think is fucking slick. And this thing just keeps going, even if you shut the car off. It just keeps screaming. So that was nice. So what I did is I took it off, and luckily there was a reset button right there, and I had to scramble around in here for about 5 minutes to find wherever the hell it went, that piece of plastic to be able to jam in there and hit the reset button. And yeah, we'll just put this back in and see if I gotta set the clock again. Let's turn it back on and see if something happens. But turns out that a CD player is not happy. No explaino. Is it display? How the hell do I get this damn thing to turn on now? Oh, there it is. Oh, hey. I've got static now. That's new. Thought I heard the antenna just try something. If I could get it to stop on a channel, that'd be nice, but it will not let me manually stop it, or I'm too stupid to figure out how to do it. Here? Nope. Wonder how I can do this manually. Oh, there it is. Alright, DMCA time. Oh, hey, look at that. Heyo! We got radio. We got tunes, my boy! And they sound beautiful. Let's see what this does. Wow, that is just... terrible. Well, I either get passenger front or passenger rear. That's probably best. We'll just leave it there. Nice-oo. Let me lock it in. There. Awesome. And I didn't even get DMCA'd. Neat. Well, there's a plus today, I guess. We're going to have to figure out how to make it play Leonard Skinard, though. I may just try it one more time, just because I'm fucking stupid. And, yeah. Display. Or is it FM? It's FM. That is so weird. Switch to CD. It won't let me switch to CD. We're just going to stick Leonard Skinard back in there, and... yeah, it's going to do that, isn't it? Well, I don't know what I expected. But, not that, I guess. This thing is a pain in the ass to get out. There we go. Alright, we're not going to do that again. Ah, damn. I guess it's FM radio for us, guys. Shit. Alright, I don't know what the fuck I did, but... I got the blowers working again. All I did was just scroll through this a bunch of times and then cycle through everything, and then it started working. So, cool. Shit. I guess I can check the heater core now. Because if I don't get any heat out of the heater core, I think I'm going to flush it. I have a sneaking suspicion that the radiator may not actually be as fucked as I think it is, although it is fucked, it needs to be replaced, so I'm definitely going to do it, but I think actually that it could just be that there's no water flow through the head or something, or I don't know, but I want to disconnect the main line out of the heater core, or the outflow from the heater core, hook the hose up to it, and just try and force water through the head out, through the radiator and out of the thermostat housing. You know, I should be backflowing it, but I just can't with the way the cooling system is set up on this. Everything goes through one central housing, and I have to disconnect that, and that's just going to introduce a million other problems I don't want to have to open up if I don't have to. So, plus I've got this auxiliary pump and the solenoid for the heater, and I don't know if either of those work, so I just want to disconnect both sides of the heater core and then hook a line up to one side of the heater core and blow through the heater core, and then hook a line up to the head and try and blow water through the head to confirm that I am getting flow through the head. I don't imagine I wouldn't be, but I want to make sure, and I think a little bit of PSI will help, because I'm still not convinced I have solid flow through the engine, because the engine's probably solid. I don't know, I do not understand this thing. Germans, I tell you. Anyway, we're just going to leave it right there, and I'm going to try not to break it again, and I still haven't looked at that leak, but from what I can tell, and I'm going to just shove you guys down in here because I can't actually get in there, it seems to just be 2 drips, as you see there, just this guy there and this over here. So it's probably just 2 holes up there underneath that plastic where it's dripping out of, and it's just, there's enough water going behind or around that plastic that it's just coming through there, and that's where all of this is. And I think if I just spray a shit ton of foam in there, I can make everything worse, but hopefully drier, although worse. So we're going to make an attempt to do that sometime here in the future, but not today because I don't have any foam. Well, I came in here and I tried to get the studs out, and what I've done is essentially round out the plastic in here because this guy just spins forever, and that guy snapped off immediately. So that's nice. Yeah, I don't know what the hell I'm gonna do now. I guess I'm gonna have to buy a new fuse box. I think they were like $30 to get one. So as long as I can pull this guy out of here, that might be what I have to do. We shall see. And we're just gonna jam this back in there and hope it stays in place. Because I don't really have any better options. Also, this thing is incredibly annoying to get back in. So, gonna take me 2 hands. Pretty sure. Maybe. Nope. What? Yeah. Got it. First try. It is gonna take me 2 hands to line that busted screw back up, but we'll just jam that back in here for the minute and try and figure out what we're gonna do to hold it in place. I might be able to like drill into the old screw and then put like a really tiny fine, put like a really tiny fine thread screw in there or something. Or stud it or something, I don't know. We shall see. But it's raining and the cooling system is dry again. Don't know why. Held water for like a month and then, well, no, it's still in there, but I'm just going to fill that back up. Hooey. Well, there's my makeshift swale. It just came right out, so that caulking never even set, so that's why it was still leaking. It's because it wasn't working, so it's honestly a miracle it was working as well as it was. Anyway, I bought a can of Big Gap filler, and we're just going to attempt to massage it underneath this crack and not above it, and try and get it to swell up down there in the firewall and fill all of that up, and do as many applications as need be in order to get it done. And this shit gets everywhere, and I'm not getting it on my phone, so I'm not going to record this for you. So I'll report back when something has happened. Alright, so here's what I've done, and I'm sure this is going to swell up like this and explode and glue the entire hood in place. But we're just going to ignore it for the moment, and that's what it looks like. And
down underneath, like, if I can adjust my hand, we've got that going on. I had to jam a shop towel in there to force everything up in and hold it in place.
But that looks better than I was hoping for. This up here is still a little sketchy. I think I may take another shop towel and just lay it in there and just press down, just kind of firm everything up, as well as so I can close the hood down on top of it and have this guy not glue itself in. And yeah, I think we're just going to let it sit overnight and pray that it doesn't make everything worse, because it's probably going to. But I don't really care at this point. Alright, next day, let's see how much of a mess we made. Well, good sign. I don't see it down here. And yeah, that's an acceptable level of bloof. So let's pop the hood and see what it looks like under there. The hood seems to be lifting up, so that's a semi-good sign. Oh yeah, that looks pretty good. Man, this is hard to do one-handed. Oh, not bad. Not bad at all. Yep, well, let's try and pull some of this shop towel out if we can. That was a smart move on my part. I didn't even block the drain down there. But I'm gonna try and rip this out, and we'll see how well it works. May just spray some water on it, just to see if it breaks or not. Alright, so I pulled out two of the larger chunks from in here. They came out without a problem, and I ripped off as much of the shop towel as I could from both sides, and it doesn't look too terrible. Still getting some water in here. All of this was filled up again, but then again, it takes this stuff a while to expand, so it could have just been that I put it on and then it rained really heavy and then it expanded and it sealed it up. So we're going to test it. I'm going to do that by taking this shop towel and just dried everything off, and I'm going to jam this right down in there, fill up that little swale on top of the frame. Then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to turn the hose on, and I'm just going to lightly spray in there for a couple of minutes when I hook the hose back up, and see if we've made the leak any better or any worse or what. Hopefully it should be clogged. I don't see how it could be leaking anymore through here. I mean, it filled up real nice. So unless it's like running down in here somehow, which is a possibility, and going behind all of this, I don't know, but that didn't seem to be where the leak was before. So we will test it, and I will spray shit right down in there and see what the hell happens. And with any luck, we should be good. I would think that this would funnel somewhere down out some place other than into the frame. It'd be dumb if it went in, but that's how it looks, kind of. So let's get to testing on that. All right, moment of truth. Oh, Lord, that's a lot of pressure. There we go. That's more what I was looking for. Well, you see, it's draining how I want it to. Right down into there. Seems to all be draining very well. Doing exactly what I want it to. Runs right out there. I'm just gonna spray a fuck ton more. This is more water than it should ever see in that area. And let's see how it looks in here. Well, water's getting in. That's for certain. And it's dripping down right from the foam, so fuck. It is getting around the foam somehow. Fantastic. So it seems like we did next to nothing. Fuck. So we're not done yet. That's for sure, but I'm not really certain how it's getting in there unless it's coming through these cracks. I guess really all I can do at this point would be I can sort of clean this up as best as I can, get as much of this shop towel out, and then add something as like a fill, like pour in some like polyurethane or something and just try and fill all of the cracks. That's the only thing I can think of. I also have to make sure that the hood shuts. Kind of have options now. Other thing would be to drill a hole through the frame so that water can just drip right through there and into the frame and rust the entire body away. But I would very much prefer not to do that, if at all possible. Alright, so I was able to identify that this right here behind this foam was a leak, so I did probably the wrong thing, but you know, you fellas know how it is. Anytime you see a hole, you just want to jam your tube in it and fill it full of sticky white stuff. So that's what I've done, and as is normally the case, you'd regret it immediately. Except I don't regret it, because if you haven't noticed, I don't give a shit about this car, and I'm not a body guy. I just want the thing to run, and I could give an absolute fuck about the body as long as it's straight and it ain't rusted out. As can be evidenced by my Jeep that's 3 colors and has 2 bashed in doors. Actually, it's 4 colors because it's black too. And yeah, I've just been spraying around with the hose. I sprayed in here with the hose. This does in fact drain into here, but as far as I can tell, it's not leaking. I was suspect to this crack down here, and so I just sprayed jet straight into it. Didn't leak, but I caulked it anyway. I sprayed jet right behind this foam right here, and it leaked straight down in, so I have caulked that. And yeah, spraying water right here, it drains right down through this, totally fine, no leaks, goes right in there through that hole and out, doesn't leak at all. Spraying in there, about half of it leaks straight down into the car. Didn't get any leaks there, so there may be another leak somewhere in here, maybe right here, maybe up over here, but all of this is pretty solid. I just sprayed in here and it went all the way down through like that, didn't leak, so I'm not entirely certain. Really, we just have to wait and see. I'm going to try and tie this up and let it dry out during the day. Let me see, has this leaked anymore? Well, actually, this has leaked a little bit in the last second, but I think I'm to the point where I don't care anymore. And as long as it stays at least this good, I'm willing to just throw all the carpets back in there, or maybe just put in a floor mat over here on the driver's side just so that it dries out, and just not put that one back in, put those carpets back in, no reason to leave them out, and just go with it. Just leave that drain out and just accept the fact that the car's going to fill with water, and make sure to park it uphill so that everything can drain. That, or buy a thing of polyurethane and just pour it in there, but that sounds like a much worse idea than what I've done, because I can sort of undo most of this. Don't know if I can do that, but anyway, we're going to give up today, and hopefully this improves things. It has improved, but just not a lot. Okay, so we got the fuse box bolt that I broke out of the Mercedes, and I'm just looking at it to get the size of the bolt just for curiosity's sake. And interestingly, it seems to be SAE, or at least it's an SAE diameter and thread pitch that are, you know, basically the same as a metric equivalent. This measured out to exactly 3/16 of an inch in diameter. And the thread pitch is marking out at 32, and it's actually the same size as this bolt right here, which I'm not certain if this is metric or not. I didn't check it, doesn't have a marking. But this is actually perfect for what I would need. And the threads intermesh. And this one is also a 32. They look to be, at least to my uneducated eye, the same diameter. This one looks a little bit smaller, but it was also not mangled. So I don't know. I think this is a what would this be? 10 by 32, I think. I don't know what the SAE equivalent is, because they go into weird numbers below a quarter, and I'm just too lazy to look up what the hell those actually mean. But it's kind of interesting. That may make things easier, but also I'm not going to be able to use these because those nuts inside of there are totally seized. So my current plan is to take the left one, get a 1/8 extendo drill bit, drill a hole into the existing bolt and nut, and then get a tap that for a fine thread, either 10 by 32, probably 8 by whatever the equivalent is, 8 by 28 or something, and then get that bolt and then thread that in there, and just get a straight piece of all thread it in there, run a nut down, lock it in place, Loctite that, or double nut it, get a nylock nut, and then come in from the top and put a wing nut on it, just so that I can take the wing nut off, or double nut the top of that and take that off, and then pull that off of the case. Not 100% certain which of those I'm going to do, but it's going to be stupid, and it's going to be dumb looking. I can guarantee you that. So that's my plan, at least. Not sure what I'm going to do about the one on the right, because the stud is stuck in there and I can't get it out. And that nut in there freewheels, so I'm probably just going to leave that one as is. I could theoretically drill out the hole in the plastic on the fuse box lid, and then try and get like a male-to-male adapter and stick that on the bolt that is still there. It's going to be an absolute bear trying to put threads on the end of that, but if I could weld, it'd be great, because I could just go in there, hold the thing straight. Well, I guess I couldn't. I could just hold the thing straight, epoxy it in place, tack weld another bolt or another screw on the end of it with a little bit of threads. I only really need about a 1/4 inch more threads on the end of that to be able to put a nut on it, but just have something so I could stick a nut on there and hold it in place, and still be able to pull the lid off and wiggle it out without pulling out that stud. But I think that's way too much work, and I can buy a fuse box for $30, so push comes to shove, I'll probably do that. I'm just going to try and figure something out with this one, so I have something that'll lock the thing in place, because I've already consigned myself to the fact that it's just going to get ruined with corrosion anyway, because it already is. Alright, so I found a gauge, I guess, I don't know what else you'd call it, and this guy gauges out at a 12 gauge, but a 12 gauge is that's not the correct size for a bolt. This is actually a 10 by 32, because it's the same size as this, and this guy threads in there. And I found an 8 by 32 that threads in like that, and that appears to be a good size for an 1/8 inch. I'm sure a 6 by 32, which I think is wherever I just had him. This guy, I think this is a 6 by 32. Yep, that looks to be a little too small for my liking. I think the 8 by 32 will be a good middle ground. Plus it'll work with a 1/8 inch drill bit. So that's probably what I'm going to go with, because I'm lazy. So yeah, I think I need to go to the hardware store and just find a nice like stainless steel 8 by 32 that's maybe a couple inches longer. This is just barely long enough, I think. Like if I ran it in like a 1/4 inch, I'd have just enough sticking out to put one nut on it, but I'd much rather have it a lot larger than that. So we're just gonna leave it as is. So we're gonna go find a bigger one, buy that, and we're gonna run with that. Alright, so it's been a couple days, and it rained like an absolute motherfucker last night. You see the puddle over there? You see that standing water? We don't get standing water out here because it's sand. It's sand for about 30 foot straight down. So when there's standing water, that means it rained like a son of a bitch. And if you look in here, you'll notice there's not that much water. You know? Only a little bit. You know, this is dry. It's fairly dry down in here. You know, there's still water. That's 100% certain. And that shop towel I left in there is soaking wet. But it hasn't really overflowed at all. So I think we got most of it. So we're making progress. We're making good progress. I just need to figure out where the rest of this water is getting in, whether it's coming in through there or what, patch the last remaining holes, and I think we'll be good. Also, real quick while I was here, I just drilled a 1/8 hole through there and then tapped it for 8 and 32 thread pitch, and now I've got this 3-inch 8x32 machine screw that I can just thread right in there, and luckily it's got a lot of play in it, which I'm going to need. And I should be able to make some sort of knob for the top of this, as well as a stop for down there, so that I can just have this captive inside of that, and then be able to just thread that down there and lock it on, and then we'll just ignore about this because there's nothing I'm going to be able to do about this guy. So this will be good enough. I can, make a gasket or something for it, or put a plug on that, I guess, to help keep water out. But this is going to be what I'm going to have to do just to keep most of the water out. Appears like that caulk held, but the stuff I jammed down in there did not. So it may just be a matter of I got to clean all of the shop towel out with like some kind of scraper or something, and then just get down in there and caulk everything. Also, I'm using like interior drywall caulk because that's just the tube that happens to be open that my dad has in the caulk gun. I should probably be using like exterior all-purpose silicone. So we'll probably try that in the future. All right, there we are. That's what that looks like for the time being, and the rain's starting to pick up, so I'm gonna hurry up and get the fuck out of here. But we're gonna just leave that one in place. I got a spare over there, and we're gonna cobble something together in order to get this to work. I'm just gonna back this guy out to where the threads are just biting, and then I'm going to take that measurement so I know what to do about the twisty knob. Alrighty, so after I made these cinder block cradles, for lack of a better term, so that I could distribute the load on top of a cinder block. Always put your cinder blocks with the holes facing up. That's how they're designed to take a load. So by putting this hunk of plywood on it that I made, this cradle, I can basically keep the wheel in place. It acts like a chalk, and that distributes the load across the cinder block, so I don't got to worry about it collapsing like a house of cards and killing me. Because if you set the tire inside of the hole of the cinder block, it'll split it apart, and the tire will fall right down into it and crush you and cut you in half like a guillotine. But I've got this all blocked up, and I have jack stands under here. I am not that big of an idiot, so I have a safeguard, and I've got the wheels chalked up front with some felling wedges for all my fancy chainsaw work, and the front up on ramps. We're tilted forward slightly, which is not ideal, but that's the way she goes. I'm not doing this again. And I can finally get up under here, drain the differential, work on the muffler, do something about these holes up here. Oh, hey, I have another drain. Neat, I didn't know about that. Yeah, there's a lot more rust underneath this car than I thought. She is from, where did I say, Delaware? Yeah, I'm not used to Yankee cars. But I should be able to get all up in this undercarriage and finally work on stuff and see if I can get that transmission drain free. Whoopee! Alright, so I went and made a hand-turn wing nut for the fuse box screw, and I think it's time to fit all this and see if it works at all. Well, there's my fuse box bolt, and it's certainly better, but it's definitely not great. There's a lot of wiggle room. Well, I actually fixed a lot of it. It doesn't like being that tight. I'm just going to stay that tight. That's actually, that's serviceable. Nice. It actually has its own pre-built gasket, so I don't even have to worry about that. Well, thankfully, after I got the car jacked up, I was able to get the vice grips on it, and we have turnage. So good. We will be able to get into the transmission, but, in this, 2-week waiting period, I probably should have bought a new transmission drain bolt. Shit, why didn't I? Well, we have turnage on the differential drain bolt, but we have fucking nothing on the fill bolt. This, kids, is why you always take your fill bolt out first before you take your drain bolt out on a differential. Because if you run into one of these and you can't get it out, well, if you drain your differential, you'll be screwed. Also, taking out the fill bolt will help your drain bolt drain faster. So pro tips, multiple tips. Yeah, so I'm gonna go get the blowtorch and heat this up a little bit. By blowtorch, I just mean a El Cheapo propane torch. Just to get a little bit of heat in there. I don't want to boil the differential fluid. Then we'll spray it down with some PB blaster, then hit it with the torch again. Try not to hit it too much with the torch so that we don't set the rubber line on fire. But just enough to heat up the bolt itself and break up the rust weld. Alrighty, that did the trick. Smells like a boiled differential fluid. I didn't hit it that long, but we got both of these free now. So we can now change the differential fluid. Well, dear viewers, I have formally said fuck it, and I have drilled 2 holes straight through the floor pan up here at the front. One that drains out right there, and another one that drains out right there, because I don't think I'm ever going to get this water leak resolved. And it pools water here and there. I think what I'm going to do is drill one more hole somewhere in here on this floor pan, so that it can drain from right here behind the seat. I'm going to have to do that from underneath. And then I'm going to continue my best efforts possible to seal up this up here. I've got some proper silicone caulk for use in bathrooms on tubs and stuff, which is not going to stay wet forever. That will cure even when wet. And we're going to work on that tomorrow. It's about to rain again, but then we're supposed to have another week of not raining. Well, most of a week. And I'll come out here tomorrow morning and apply that stuff, and it should be able to set. But I'm going to just jam that everywhere I can, caulk every single crevice possible, and we'll pray for the best. But as an extreme measure, I'm drilling holes today, because after getting this bad boy up on blocks and looking at this undercarriage, it's pretty fucking rusty, and miraculously this thing doesn't have any holes in the floor pan. So I'm just going to make my own, because all things considered, it's worth the disinvestment. I don't know what you would call it. It's worth the fuck up to prevent the floor pan from rusting from the inside out. I would rather have it rust from the outside in, which it's not going to do because it's South Carolina and bare metal under cars just doesn't rust here. So I think it's worth the sacrifice up front now to save on the car later. And if I ever get in here and actually replace the flooring, I'll be able to paint all of this with Pt.13 and everything and plug it up, and it won't be a worry. But I just want this thing to quit filling up with water, and I've just officially fucking given up. Alright, so I've also drilled 2 1/8-inch holes right there that you can't quite make out, right there behind the floorboard at the lowest point, and nearly went through the main wiring harness. So luckily I missed it by 1/64 of an inch, so I drilled a second one, 1/4 of an inch to the side, just so that I had double, because I wasn't going to be able to run the 5/16 through it. That one's not as important because I've got the big drain back there. Look at it, it's glorious. The sun is out, so I've come in here and I have caulked the fuck out of this whatever the hell it is body, and yeah, we're gonna hope that works. This is the caulk that is designed for plumbing applications, so presumably it should cure a lot better. And I'm going to try and leave this mostly open. I'm not going to be able to leave it up like that just because I don't have the second arm, so it doesn't stay up, and I don't want it falling down violently because it likes to do that. So I'm just going to take it down and rest it on the hood latch, and I'm going to try and leave the doors and the trunk cocked open slightly. I'm going to hold them down just a little bit because I don't want my cousin's grandkids coming over here and drinking algicide or anything, or birds coming in here and building nests, although they're going to do that anyway. But yeah, I really, really hope this works, and I don't know what I'm going to do if it doesn't. But I guess I'm just gonna fucking forget it, because I got all these holes drilled in the floor now, so it should drain. This thing was full of water again after it rained last night. So yeah, I ain't got anything else left to say. I'm just tired. Well, there she'll sit, airing out for the next 3 days at least, and probably after this weekend we'll know if that did anything or not, by whether or not there's water down there where I put the shop towel. I'm gonna let her sit like this for a couple days, and I'll come close her up whenever the forecast says it's supposed to rain, and we're just gonna let her breathe. Well, guess who forgot about the trunk light? Tom did. So, battery read 1/2 volt this morning, so we're gonna take it home and charge it. It seems to be not fucking ruined, which is a good thing. But it's dead as a doornail. So hopefully I didn't ruin it. But yeah, got all the carpets out on top of the car, let them dry out. And yeah, I think I'm gonna call the video here. So if you like this kind of stuff, make sure to like the video, go down there, comment, tell me what I'm doing wrong, tell me what I'm doing right, tell me what you want me to do. And if you want to see more of this trash, you got to subscribe, so smash that button. And until next time, Tom out.